Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into some incredibly fascinating and, honestly, slightly alarming source material about one of the most invisible challenges of our modern world. Together, we're going to uncover the hidden reality of microplastics. But more importantly, we're going to build a highly actionable, science-backed defense plan based on the data. We aren't just here to talk about the problem, We're here to equip ourselves with the actual tools we need to protect our health. But before we get to those solutions, I just want you to think about this staggering number. 11,600,000,000. That is the exact number of micro and nanoplastic particles released right into your cup from steeping just one single plastic or nylon tea bag at brewing temperature. One cup of tea. It's almost impossible to wrap your head around, isn't it? This isn't just happening in some faraway ocean, it's happening right in our very own kitchens. So here is our survival map for today's explainer. 1. The plastic inside us. 2. Hijacking hormones and minds. 3. Stop eating the plastic. 4. Clearing your environment. And 5. Flushing toxins out. Let's start with Section 1. The plastic inside us. The invisible invader. Okay, let's dive into this. To understand exactly how to fight back, we first need to grasp the sheer scale of the invasion. And this isn't just speculative anymore. Researchers are actively finding microplastics in the human body today. They're circulating in our bloodstreams, lodging deep in our lungs, and accumulating in our liver and gut microbiome. They've even been found crossing the blood-brain barrier. But perhaps most alarmingly, they are accumulating in placentas and testicular tissue. In fact, microplastics have been detected in literally all sperm samples tested in recent studies, prompting experts to warn that if current trends keep up, global sperm counts could trend towards zero by 2045. Moving to Section 2, hijacking hormones and minds, the biological mechanism. The absolutely crucial point here is understanding what these particles actually do once they set up camp inside our organs. And, well, it all comes down to the chemicals. Plastics are made from petrochemicals containing over 16,000 different chemicals, and a lot of these act as endocrine disruptors, which basically means they mimic or block our body's natural hormones. BPA, for instance, mimics estrogen. When your body gets flooded with synthetic estrogen, it can contribute to reproductive conditions like endometriosis in women and decreased testosterone and muscle mass issues in men. It just throws our entire metabolic and reproductive systems completely out of balance. Which brings us to a major vulnerability, the gut-brain axis. Think of this as the biological communication highway between your stomach and your brain. When we ingest microplastics, they cause gut dysbiosis, meaning they're essentially killing off the good bacteria. And they can even cause leaky gut. What researchers are now calling the mind-over-microplastics connection shows that when the gut is inflamed by plastic, that inflammation travels directly up to the brain, leading to very real psychiatric symptoms. Building on that direct neurological impact, nanoplastics actually cross the blood-brain barrier and rewire our neurotransmitter systems. They disrupt the HPA axis, which is how our body manages stress. They've been shown to deplete dopamine, literally stripping away motivation and joy, and reduce serotonin, which heavily increases anxiety. Plus, they trigger oxidative stress and neuroinflammation, which recent studies are linking to increased rates of depression and exacerbating conditions like ADHD. It is a huge deal. Let's get into Section 3. Stop eating the plastic. The kitchen defense plan. Now this is our pivot point. We know the science, we know the risks. Now we take action. If you only make one change after watching this explainer, please make it this one. Ditch the plastic food storage containers, especially in the microwave. Microwaving a plastic container for just 3 minutes releases up to 4.22 million microplastic particles per square centimeter right into your food. The heat literally destroys the plastic matrix. But swapping to glass, ceramic, or stainless steel, that drops your exposure to absolutely zero. It is the single highest impact change you can make. Remember our opening hook? Well, here it is again in context. That innocent-looking silky tea bag is shedding 11.6 billion particles into your morning brew. But by making a simple this-for-that swap to loose-leaf tea with a metal strainer, you reduce your exposure to roughly 10 particles a week. You are essentially eliminating a massive source of daily plastic ingestion with a swap that, let's be honest, actually tastes way better anyway. Here's a surprising one for you.
Your salt. Because our global oceans are so heavily polluted, sea salt naturally carries that pollution right along with it, containing anywhere from 550 to 681 microplastic particles per kilo. By simply switching to rock salts like Himalayan pink salt or Morton's, you're consuming salt mined from ancient deposits that formed millions of years before plastic was ever even invented. It is a much, much cleaner seasoning option.
Now let's talk about water. A lot of people think bottled water is automatically safer, but the data tells a different story. Looking at PFAS, or forever chemical levels in popular sparkling waters, Topo Chico tested at 9.76 parts per trillion, while San Pellegrino was much lower. But the real winner here is at-home reverse osmosis filtration. RO systems push water through membranes so incredibly tiny that they remove up to 99.9% of all microplastics and chemicals. Just remember to add remineralization drops, since RO removes the good minerals right along with the bad.
But hey, what if an RO system isn't in your budget right now? No worries. Researchers in China recently published a brilliant, totally budget-friendly hack. Step 1. Boil hard tap water for 5 minutes. Step 2. The minerals in the hard water, specifically calcium carbonate, actually crystallize and form a crust that encapsulates the free-floating microplastics. Step 3. Just pour that boiled water through a standard paper coffee filter. This simple, practically free recipe removes up to 90% of microplastics from hard tap water.
Section 4. Clearing your environment beyond the kitchen. So we've tackled what we eat and drink. Let's move to the invisible plastics in the air we breathe and the things we touch every single day. A massive source of indoor pollution actually comes from our clothes. Synthetic fabrics like polyester and nylon shed microfibers constantly. These just settle into household dust, which we then breathe in. To fight this, try to favor natural fibers like organic cotton and wool. Run a HEPA air purifier to catch those airborne particles, and when you vacuum, open the windows so you aren't just recirculating plastic dust into the air. Oh, and consider a microfiber filter for your washing machine to stop those fibers from washing out into the ocean.
And here is a combination you absolutely want to avoid at all costs. Hand sanitizer and store receipts. Thermal paper receipts are coated in BPA. When you use hand sanitizer or lotions, it actually acts as a penetration enhancer. So touching a receipt right after sanitizing your hands increases your dermal absorption of BPA by up to 100 times. Whenever possible, just opt for bare hands, ask for a digital receipt, or better yet, just let them throw it away.
Section 5. Flushing toxins out. Your body as the hero.
We've reduced our incoming exposure, but what about the plastics already inside us? Well, it is time to introduce the real hero of this story, your own body. We can supercharge your natural detox systems, and the magic happens in the liver through a process called glucuronidation. Think of your liver as a bouncer at a club. When it finds a toxin like BPA, it attaches a sugar molecule to it. This acts like a little escort, making the BPA water-soluble so your kidneys can easily flush it out in your urine. What's really fascinating, and definitely crucial to know, is that studies show neurodivergent individuals, like those with ADHD or autism, often have lower glucuronidation efficiency. That means they hold on to these toxins longer and need to be extra vigilant about detoxing.
So how exactly do we support this system? Eating cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and kale, and taking supplements like milk thistle act like a massive hug for your liver, boosting that glucuronidation process. Hydrating with filtered water gives your kidneys the fluid they need to actually flush the toxins. And finally, you gotta sweat. Some BPA actually bypasses the liver entirely, meaning the only way to expel it is right through our skin. Saunas and intense exercise literally sweat the plastic out of you.
To protect our brains and our gut, we can lean on some very specific foods and habits. Anthocyanins, the dark pigments found in things like berries and beetroot, help mop up oxidative stress in the brain caused by plastics. Specific probiotics like Lactobacillus casei actually bind to BPA in your gut and carry it out through their bowel movements. And never, ever underestimate deep sleep. It activates the brain's glymphatic system. It basically acts as a night shift housekeeper, clearing toxins directly from your brain tissue while you rest. Before we wrap up, I really want you to lock this mantra into your mind. Progress over perfection. You live in a modern world. You cannot achieve a zero plastic life, and trying to will honestly only drive you crazy. The goal here is a radical reduction in exposure, not some impossible perfection. Every single swap you make compounds into a massive win for your health over time. So, I leave you with this final provocative question. Which single science-backed swap will you make today? Will you throw away your plastic Tupperware? Will you switch to loose-leaf tea? You have the knowledge, you have the survival map, and now you have the power to take agency over your health right now.
Thank you so much for joining me on The Explainer. Start your defense plan today, and I'll catch you next time.
If you want to analyze medical questions yourself in seconds, using evidence-based medicine principles, the link to the service is below the video.